Welcome to Venator Chronicles Podcast. I'm Ethan Taylor.
And I'm Dustin Jelly.
Our hope is to inspire new and old hunters alike.
We hope you can join us on this journey of lessons that we have, are, and will learn through the world of hunting.
We are live, Dusty.
Live.
Episode 4. As
you thought we were on 5.
And Dustin goes, it's too early for us to be messing up what episode we're on. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Man. So, how you doing?
Dude, I'm doing really good. I actually got out to do something related to hunting in the last couple weeks.
Nice.
So it was pretty good. I was excited.
What'd you do?
I took my 3-year-old now. I took him out with me. We were going to set up a trip.
Get the age right.
Right, yeah. That's why.
When's his birthday?
I paused, yeah. I'm not going to answer that. I plead the fifth. No, we went out and we were planning on setting up a trail camera, doing some semi-shed hunting. It ended up us walking out there, getting about halfway to where I was hoping we would get to, him starting to get cold, and it just turned into us looking at nature and turning around and coming back. Didn't look for any sheds. The snow's also super deep, so not that solid.
Was this before or after the major rainstorm?
It was before the rainstorm,
okay,
I believe. It might have been after. I don't know. Either way, there was still too much snow.
There is a lot of snow.
Yeah, so it was not that big of a loss, but at the same time, it was like, well, at least he got out. That's what mattered.
Did he have fun?
He did have fun, yes. Yeah, he did. We saw no wildlife at all, and I carried him 3/4 of the way. So it was, but he was outside, and he at least got to experience some of it. So
good.
And then I got out, so I was excited.
Yes.
And then also I went out and I checked my trail camera. I left the camera over the gut pile of my buck, and so I was really excited to see what was on that. Just because I was like, I wonder what kind of wildlife was on here. Dude, it was so awesome. There were so many different animals. First it started out with basically a bunch of crows. And then there was this awesome huge eagle and Murica. And like you would see the crows actually fly off and the eagle be walking in. And I was like, I got to make a meme of this where it's like, put America where the eagle is. And then America's problems, all the crows just flying away. And that would have went viral, but I didn't do it.
Is this a video or just a picture?
It was just a picture.
Oh,
It's a cheap.
Pretty freaking great.
It's I forget what the name of the trail camera is. It's like $40. Originally 80, as they say, but it's always on sale for 40. Yeah. So it's just a $40 camera.
It's a $40 camera.
And then so there was the crows. Then there was the eagle. Then there was some hawks, and then I had raccoons coming in. Nice. And then I had coyotes all over the place. I did see a bobcat like probably 6 or 7 times.
Dude, you sent me that bobcat picture. That thing was a beauty.
It was sweet.
The
best part is I got a photo of it. It was at night, so it wasn't in color, which was kind of a bummer. But I got a photo of it with a rabbit in its mouth, and I was like, "That is."
You didn't
epic.
send me that one. I just got the bobcat one.
Are you serious?
You robbed me.
That's embarrassing. Well, now you have something to look.
Sweet though.
Now you have something to look forward to.
I want to see it.
Maybe I'll post it on Venator Chronicles on our Instagram. Everyone can take a look at it. It's it's a pretty sweet photo. It's rare.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
Share it with everybody else before me.
Yeah. That's the only way you'll see it.
Nice.
And then I had a bunch of deer. Now there were no bucks.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point it's out there for.
At one point there were 6 deer in the same photo. So I was like, all right, dude.
And this is the place where you killed your buck, right?
Killed my buck. Yeah. And I had it right over the gut pile. And okay, one thing that I thought was amazing is 2 months had passed since the buck was killed. And you like raccoons all the time, crows, and a lot of birds, and coyotes tearing this thing up. 2 months later, with a bunch of snow now, and there's a wolf standing right on top of where the gut pile was with his nose to the ground. I'm like, is he checking out the kill site 2 months after it's been essentially cleaned up in my mind and the human, senses anyway? So I was like, that's pretty impressive.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was cool. One thing I did learn is that so far anyway from that camera, I did leave it out there because it was right over a scrape. I did learn so far that there was only, I think it was a 6-pointer and a fork and a couple other real small ones. And so, a lot of activity in that area. But I may not be back there to hunt right away, but I'm going to leave that camera out, let it soak basically until probably, early summer. maybe,
Nice.
and see if there's any development. Midsummer, maybe even. Just see if there's any development because I kind of got my eyes in some other areas. But anyway, point is, I actually got out and did some hunting related things this early in the year. So I was super excited about it.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it was sweet.
I haven't been out. I've been waiting for the snow to die down so I can get out to the area. I want to start putting up my trail cams.
Dude, it was so brutal. I'm wearing my what are they, muck boots, and I think they're the 18-inch ones. And I posted on my personal Instagram, and the snow was mid-thigh level.
Jeez.
And so I had snow that was just packed down in my boots, and I was trying to empty them. And it's just
So what you need to get is some gaiters. I picked up gaiters
Yes.
for the first time ever this year.
yeah.
Totally worth it. Like lifesaver, game changer. I wish I'd gotten these years ago. Like I was wondering why have I never gotten a pair of gaiters? Because I wore those this season and I loved it. It was amazing.
Dusty, people wear those just to be cool. Okay, unless you're Western,
Dude,
I've
I've been accused of being hipster, so you know, it happens.
For you listeners out there, that's a shoulder shrug from Dusty. He's shoulder shrugging.
It happens, you know. You got to go for fashion points.
So what he's doing is he's acknowledging what I'm saying. No,
Yes.
ultimately, thankfully we don't hunt usually in that deep of snow like during the
No.
season, and we're not going to be shed hunting in that deep of snow. Generally speaking, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Shed hunting.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Something
Calm
we'll
down.
Talk about.
Yeah.
Something we'll talk about.
So, anyways, yeah, that's how I'm doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I haven't gone out to do any hunting related stuff as far as out in the woods. I am still in the midst of my arch release crisis. I bought a few more, traded a few more, sold a few more this last couple weeks. However, we'll talk about this I think in a future episode. As I did send you the other day, I went through and figured out how many releases I've gone through in the last 3 years.
Please share it with the world.
And really the last probably year, and I actually had to update it. I remembered a couple more. I came away with, in the last 3 years, 39 total releases.
What's wrong with you?
However, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's a lot of things. However, I think I have narrowed it down
Yeah.
to one or two from a particular company, but we'll save that for a future episode.
Would
I think my journey is coming to a close.
Would it be a shock to say I don't believe you at all?
No.
Okay.
So, however, I really actually do honestly think it is coming to a close. It's finally, I see light at the end of the tunnel of which release out of all the releases I have ever tried that I think I like.
Dusty, how long did you have your last bow?
I had it a year. I had a full year.
A full year.
Yeah, I will probably be a new bow every year guy just because I get bored. I just want to try something new and see how it works. That's just me.
Dude, that is a major difference you and I have.
Yes.
Major difference. You are an R&D man, and that's research and development, everybody. And I am pick my system, and I'm going to dig into tactics.
Yeah, I have commitment issues. So, however, I tell my wife it's a good thing I trade bows and bow equipment because I keep her around.
Oh my gosh! Let me know how that goes long term.
Yeah. So, but
Dude.
I like her, and she changes day to day, so it works out.
So you essentially got the same program running.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man.
Okay, so I guess today we're talking about kind of what we're hoping for going forward for the 2000 year, really, not necessarily
2019.
Yeah, and we're going to really open this up to more than just whitetail hunting because that's not all we do.
What?
A shocker. So
Well, that's all we've ever had success at so far.
Yeah, so I'm gonna real quick kind of give you the bullet points of roughly what we're hoping to get to today. I have coyote hunting. I think one thing for me that I'm super excited about for spring is my first year spring turkey hunting.
Whoa, turkey.
I don't even have a call yet,
Yeah.
and it's like very close.
God, I should have brought my call in. I could have done a turkey call right now. That would have
Yeah.
been cool.
It's going to be. It's for me. Let's see what we're at. We're at March when we're recording this, so this will not be when people hear it.
St. Patty's Day.
March 17th, and I'm officially allowed to be hunting turkeys on May 15th, I believe, to the 21st or
Ooh.
22nd. Don't worry, I will double check before I go out. And so for me, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I have not looked into. I just signed up because I'm like, if I get drawn, awesome. And
so
I
you're
was
looking forward to
selected.
turkey hunting.
Yeah, that's my big one.
So you got turkey hunting. We've got. I know you've talked about coyote hunting.
Yep, coyote hunting.
Getting out, doing some yote hunting.
Yep, and this year I just put in for a bear tag preference point, but
okay.
not actually for a bear tag because
Okay.
I knew with turkey hunting, I was like, if I got randomly selected, I'm not gonna be able to pull off both of those.
Yeah.
So just did a preference point. So that's
Nice.
where I'm at with that. And then also for me, again, shed hunt, or not again, for the first time ever, shed hunting. Shed hunting will be a good one
Shed
for me.
hunting.
We'll talk about it. Dusty's got some ideas. So yeah, and then what about you? What do you got going on? What are you thinking?
Definitely turkey hunting. Excited about that. Put it in. It's gonna be, I think we'll talk about hopefully maybe an elk hunt. Probably not, but I'm putting it in for an elk hunt.
In what state?
Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So yeah, elk hunt, and then looking forward to kind of getting out together a lot. Hopefully this summer, and doing just a lot of shooting together, hitting up some 3D events, and then come this fall, obviously deer hunting.
Deer hunting.
That's like the highlight of the year.
It's big. It's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
Bigger than, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bigger than
any other season we have, I'd say so far.
yeah.
So I'm going to be also hopefully touch on duck and goose hunting, which I've only had basically, I count it as like I don't know what, and it's entry level year basically. I don't even own my own
Jealous.
shotgun. It's like the one type of gun I don't own.
What kind of American are you?
Exactly.
You don't even own your own shotgun.
I know.
I'm almost embarrassed to be on this podcast with you that you don't even own your own shotgun. I have shotguns.
That's bad.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
bad.
talk about this.
Well, that's why I have a
we'll,
lot.
we'll work this out.
We'll set this out. All right, man. So let's start talking about the spring, huh? Let's start with that. Does that make sense?
Let's do it.
Because that's what we're only a few days away from spring officially, even though we have 18 inches of snow.
Speaking of turkey, you know what's really good?
What's that?
Wild turkey whiskey.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So
Someone's fishing.
Yeah,
Fishing
it's
for a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So
Already.
I just enjoy turkey and enjoy wild turkey whiskey. So
Good on you, Dusty.
I do.
Good on you. Just make
is
sure
that a good segue?
That was super bad. Okay. Yeah. So, well, here's the deal. There's so much snow right now. I'm not usually in the last 2 years, I've coyote hunted a lot. Let me tell you how successful I've been. Not at all. Zero coyotes.
Have you even gotten a shot off on a dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, two. So the one time I went out, not one time. I've been out a lot of times. I went out
A lot.
Yes, a lot. I went out when it was negative. The temperature itself, I think, was like negative 20 something, and it was like a windy day. So they were saying it was what feels like. Someone please tell me how they get the feels like temperature. But anyway, it was supposed to feel like negative 50ish. That was the day I got a chance at a coyote. We were doing sets all day, and we kept just hitting pond after pond after pond. And this was last year, so last spring, and we were sitting on this pond. We were doing sets for maybe 20 minutes because it was so cold. Like, you'd walk out there, you're all warm, and you sit down, and you'd maybe last 20 minutes. Well, what happened was I had my brother Ben with me and my brother Isaiah, who was back on leave from the military, and we're sitting there. My brother Isaiah is sick as a dog, pun intended, and he wanted to
Hashtag dad joke.
Yeah, exactly. Look out, they're coming in hot. So he just wanted to get out with us really bad. He was throwing up and everything. It was terrible.
Jeez.
So he fell asleep. I don't know if it was from hypothermia or just being sick. God. And then my brother Ben was with me, and he was to my left. And we were maybe, I think, like 15 minutes in. So only 5 minutes left on what we had usually done. And I saw a dog up on this hill, and I see it, and I look at my brother's all slow, like, Isaiah's asleep, and Ben has no idea there's a dog over there. So I'm sitting there. I got my AR, and I'm like, okay, we're stretching this sit. And so I keep calling. And the dog walks out from left to right, and the wind was not in our favor. And I'm thinking he's going to be, like catching our wind any second. And here's the part I knew I messed up is that I had that dog already made into a hat on my, at the time, I think 3.5-year-old son's head. Like, before I even got him in the scope, I was like, oh, it's a beautiful coyote. Can't wait to see that on Caden's head. So I get the scope crosshairs on him, or at least what I think is on him. And I squared up on him, and he's trot, 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 stop, trot, stop. And then I go, next one, I need to pull the trigger because he's going to be like directly like right where our wind is going. And so he stops. I shoot. He jumps in the air, spins around like you see all the dogs or a lot of dogs who get hit. And I'm like, yes. So my brothers who both have guns don't do a follow-up shot at all because they're like, oh, he's dead. And he starts to like trot the other direction. And I go to shoot again. And it was so cold out. My bolt carrier group actually was frozen shut. So I had to hand rack one real quick, got one in and shot again, did the same very similar jump. So I'm like, no way, I hit him twice. I'm such a good shot. And and he runs and he just is bolting it now. And so he runs up the hill and he's gone. And we're all so excited. We run over there, we look at the ground and it's like a little tuft of fur. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. All of that. And like, it was a whole year of seeing no dogs. I see a dog. It was only 100, 120, 130 yards away. And we get a little piece of fur. That was it. Not enough to go on your son's head, as I found out, to keep him warm in the winter.
Shocker.
Yeah. So that's basically, besides dogs being hung up at like 200-300 yards on a wood line where I just not that comfortable at shooting. And so I was like, I mean, that's what I've seen. And so I haven't killed one yet. My brother ran over 2 of them at his place, which I also hunt there. So riddle me that, Benjamin. Riddle me that. So I'm gonna still do some coyote hunting.
Nice.
I use it as an excuse to get outdoors, even in the summertime, because it's year round. And so before work, it's like a huge thing for me to be able to get out in the woods. So that's
Nice.
kind of my early spring. That's what that looks like to start anyway.
I do have a gripe against the Wisconsin coyote hunting season is that you actually, if you're out of state, you have to buy a flipping tag. Whereas Minnesota, we have it. If you want to come hunt coyotes, come on over. It is free.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but we also give you half off of any license for your first time, and
The
going
first
over
time.
there, full price
I know.
every time.
But you can hunt coyotes for free.
Yeah, that's
So-
true, but pluses and minuses, sir.
So maybe we'll do a coyote hunt in Minnesota for free together.
Oh, there's going to be a Wisconsin, Minnesota face off
There will be.
before the end of this, I swear. So, and then I think this is where we both get to talk, is I am going to be engaging in my first ever spring turkey hunt this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to California for vacation, holla, from like the 4th to the 13th or 14th, I believe, of May.
So sorry you have to spend that much time in California.
Dude, it's beautiful though. You can't be that mad. It's beautiful. And my wife, he was like, I was trying to find something for you to do as hunting wise. And I'm like,
Ooh,
my goodness, I love you.
man.
And so anyway,
Take note, wives.
Yes.
You want your men to really love you. Those are the
my
words.
but right when I get back, it's turkey season, and I'm kind of debating if I take time off of work or if I just do the weekend warrior thing. But like, I literally don't even own a call yet. So I have no practice. I have no idea what it all entails. I mean, I have an idea of what it entails.
So I'll be doing your calling.
I sure hope so.
And I know like 10% more than you do.
Which is
I know how to operate a call.
That's 100% more than I know
half the
about
time.
calling. Yeah.
I am effective 100% of the time, 70% of the time.
So I guess with turkey hunting, this is the scope of my experience so far. I'm out there scouting for deer. I happen to see turkeys every time I'm out there. And in the fall, either this last year or the year before that, I believe, I could be wrong, Wisconsin for the first time was just giving over-the-counter tags either sex.
Okay.
And so I would be in my deer stand, my climber I went out there with, and I had turkeys walk by. And so I was like, well, I'll buy a tag because the first time you buy one.
Do you guys have a fall season too?
We
Or do you just have a spring?
We have a fall.
Spring and fall. Nice.
And so I bought a over-the-counter tag because it was $5 for your first time, which is
nice.
legit. Yeah. And so I was like, may as well have it with me.
Heck yeah.
And so this can be attributed to why I missed the deer as well, but I missed the turkey. And one thing I found that was really interesting, when you go out deer hunting, like I was walking out to my deer stand, and when I was on my way, I'd always keep my eyes peeled for turkeys because I have a tag now, and I'd see these turkeys, and it's like, you can't hunt 2 animals because I had to turn off deer hunting altogether. So I was crawling in the woods, like 70 to 100 yards, like my bow in hand, like on my hands and knees, staying below the brush line as they're in this open area feeding. And I got up between a tree and ended up kind of poking out, and he just happened to see me, and I was trying to range him, and I got to full draw and poked out of the tree the second time, and then they're like, yeah, nope, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Oh, man.
So anyway, I have zero calling experience. It just happens chance that they were around, and so I had a tag, and I did miss one from the deer stand. And so to me, I haven't had any like of the hot action that comes in spring.
Oh, man.
That I've heard so
Dude,
much about.
it is. Yeah. Turkey hunting is fun.
And I'm going to do it with the
So
bow.
much fun.
And I'm going to do it with the bow.
Yes.
I'm kind of determined to get it done with the bow,
Yes.
to be honest. Which is weird because that doesn't line up with my rifle season in the fall mentality, but that has to do with more family. So I don't know.
So,
I'm hoping to get some video.
Dude, turkey hunting in the spring, that's probably been... Full disclosure, I have yet to actually get a turkey. I missed on the one shot I got last year because I jerked my trigger or my release. I realized
He's archery hunting.
archery.
this.
Yeah, I've only purely ever archery hunted. Really, anything. For better or for worse, it's like a marriage. For better or for worse, and so far it's been for worse. Much more for better.
You sir are a snob, an archery snob.
Or just a complete archery fool at this point.
Hey, you got a buck. If you had nothing on the ground so far, then you'd be.
But it's a rush turkey hunting. Like I love it's at least how I've done it with my buddy Steve. It's been a very much more running and gunning style.
So you're not doing ground blinds with a bow.
No, we
that's legit.
Yeah, see,
that to me is cool.
Like it was just more moving and trying to call in birds, which I actually really like. And that's more my style, more my personality. Like I can not just sit in an area for very long. I have a hard time. I am ADHD when it comes to hunting, but that's why I love turkey hunting is being able to call these birds in and just being able to pull off more of a run and gun style, especially with the bow. It's a lot of fun. It's a challenge.
Okay, so all of the probably 30 to 45 minutes I've listened to about turkey hunting, excuse me, all that I've heard so far is if you want to archery hunt or film, you need to be in a ground blind. Not need. They say if you want, success, you need to be in a ground blind, which I have seen and heard that. I mean, it is so keenly like we're used to. I would say scent is probably like the main thing. Like you get away with quite a bit of moving. In contrast,
these birds when it comes to sight,
yeah,
it's crazy. Granted, I kind of had this realization last year. Like, listen, if I was a little animal existing on this planet, and everything else is out to get me, I would be developing some really good keen senses, and I would be running as fast as I can whenever I thought I was in danger, because that's all they ever do is they just run.
They just worry.
Yeah, like
well, what's interesting is when I was walking up to my blind, it was on this power line, and I would be 250 yards away, and I would barely peek out behind the woods. And this is before I had a tag, so I wasn't worried about it. And it's kind of scouting at time, and they would see me like take a couple steps, and they would just leave. I mean, they wouldn't fly away, but they would like
they'd see it moving, and then they're gone.
Yeah, and that was it.
It was it's insane, which makes it so much fun.
And that's where I had a little fun in the fall because I put a couple stocks on. I was like, this is so cool. Just trying to sneak up on them anyway, and not having to worry about like the wind and your scent and that kind of thing.
Just
but
be seen.
Movement was huge. It seemed like, and that's what I seemed to hear. And so, I mean, to be able to pull off, being able to draw your bow back and actually manage even like that's a huge feat. Just that portion of it, let alone needing to be at the right place, right time, and then you're not going to use a ground blind. That's a big deal, and you can't just be sitting like you would with a shotgun. I would imagine.
Yeah,
you got to be on your knees. At least is that my guess or what?
Yeah,
what
I found for me. So one tip I found, I'll show you the chair I've got. I've got like a little like tripod chair that I actually found was really helpful because it allowed me to sit, like kind of sit for extended periods of times where I'd put the chair up and then I could kneel, but then I could sit back into this chair.
Yeah.
Which was really nice for long extended sit. So I'm not just kneeling.
Is it shaped like a triangle or no?
Yeah, it's kind of like like a triangle.
You kind of straddle it more.
Yeah,
than
kind of.
sit
Yeah,
on
more.
it like a square chair.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. And it worked really well because that way I could sit back into the chair if I needed to, or I could get up on my knees. So when the time was to come to take a shot, I'm on my knees. I'm in a good position, but then I'm not just sitting on my knees, for the whole time. So I'll show you that chair. Definitely needed with a bow.
Nice.
Like,
Okay.
So
Well, that's good to know because again, no idea.
yeah, I learned the
Not
hard
even
way.
a little clue.
Getting out there and you're sitting on your knees for half hour, 45 minutes, and
You want
It was
to know
rough.
what equipment I have for turkey hunting?
nothing.
I have a bow and a release and a tag. So
Well, hey, that's a good starting point.
yeah.
Better than no bow,
Yeah.
no release, and no tags.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
So, so we'll be filling everybody in on that
Yeah,
adventure
that'll
as we
be
go
fun.
forward. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I mean, even if it's GoPro, when you're using, I mean, it sounds like you'd be pretty close, obviously for archery and shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, even if I use the GoPro, and,
unless you're John Dudley, then it's a 75-yard chip
oh
shot.
my gosh, dude, he's like
You've
checking.
seen-
He's
have you seen that video of John Dudley?
Yeah. I'm watching. He's like, oh, check the grass by the turkey, and then
Yeah.
what's going on around me, and then I just,
And he just drops a 75-yard shot dead center on the turkey.
yeah, the dude's a
That
freak.
is some skill.
The dude's a freak. It's awesome though.
Yeah, I have that skill
Yeah.
at like 5 yards.
Impressive. Oh, you got a Robin Hood, dude?
yeah. We
so
we won't even go there.
I digress.
We won't even
I
go there.
digress.
So yeah, turkey hunting, you're looking forward to it. Your first season.
Yes.
So
I don't know how much time I'm going to have out there, right?
Yeah.
And from what I understand,
well, how long does what's the Wisconsin turkey season? Because I'm not familiar with this Wisconsin side, being a Minnesota boy.
Hey, you know what's really cool about this podcast?
What?
What's cool about this podcast is we start off by just letting people know early on. It's like, hey, we're newbies. So I get to say things like, oh, I actually don't know the full length of the season of the turkey,
Right.
of the full length of the season, the turkey season.
wow, the struggle is real. And so I know what my season is.
Yep.
And it's all sectioned out from what I've looked at. And so I'm planning on, or hoping to, if I'm not successful in my chunk of time, I've heard that late season there are some over the counter tags.
Okay.
And so if mid May to late May doesn't work,
Okay.
I'm planning to hopefully pick up another one
Nice.
if at all possible. We'll
Okay.
see what happens. But yeah, so I'm
So-
glad we get to do
so,
that.
So when you apply, kind of walk me through the process. So for Wisconsin, when you apply, if you get selected, you get selected for a particular season and location?
Yeah, so we have it sectioned out. I think there's 7 different sections. It's either 7 or 6.
Different sections. So you pick
Okay.
you pick a couple time dates for the section the main section you want to hunt, and then you can do like another section, and you can put it as the same one, but your odds are higher
Okay.
if you pick 2 different ones and 2 different times.
Gotcha.
And so for me, I ended up picking the same one because I'm like, I'm probably not going to be able to travel. I know I've seen turkeys here almost every time I was out there in September, August. And so I was like, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket, hope for this time frame. Mind you, I have no idea what the best time frame is for turkey hunting. I don't know what early season, mid season, late season mean. And so this is, again, to me, totally new. Don't even own a call at this point.
So it's going to be so much learning, much like the whitetail season.
So I'm pretty excited. So anyway, so I put that time in, and then they just mailed me a thing, said you were selected for this date. In this, I forget what they even call them, section, region, I don't know. But it was my first choice. And so we're going to see how that goes. And I basically have one spot that I'm thinking will work well because that's the only
Okay.
place I've seen turkey so far.
So I have here the Wisconsin turkey hunting seasons.
Ooh, look
They
at
have,
you go.
they have a youth hunt April 13th through the 14th.
Ooh.
And then season A starts April 17th. So that's the same time frame
Okay.
as Minnesota.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys do weekly seasons as well,
Well,
or
with how-
chunks.
Yeah. And with how much snow we have on the ground, I don't know.
It might be melted though. I mean,
You think so?
given how warm it's going to get.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. That's a good point.
Which this year, I think, if I remember right, last year started, I want to say like a week sooner than this year.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of nice starting
I'll
a
take-
little later, a little warmer.
I'll take your word for it.
So yeah,
Not a
'cause,
clue.
Mister. I have no clue what I'm doing with turkey hunting.
I'll take it. I'll own that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I know I'm excited for turkey hunting.
Yeah.
So I usually historically, I've only gone out one weekend.
Okay.
Probably will only do that again. Usually make a 3-4 day trip down to the Mille Lacs Lake area, or
Okay.
maybe I got my buddy Steve down there, Javi Game Calls.
Nice.
Which, by the way, if anybody's looking for quality game calls, definitely recommend Steve's calls. Handmade. Dude knows his stuff. Check him out. Javi Game Calls on Facebook, Instagram. Totally a free, shameless friend plug. And they do sound amazing. I've heard his calls compared to the store-bought calls I've had, and they definitely rock.
Were we up there hunting 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Coyote hunting?
yeah, that's where
Was
we.
it 2 years
yeah,
ago or
2
1
years
year?
ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay.
That's where we went.
That was the first time I ever touched a turkey call. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. So,
Nice.
you guys, out of all the calls that I've used, hands down the best in the
Good.
market.
They sound nice.
Yeah.
They do sound nice.
No, that
So-
was semi me being sarcastic because that's
Mister, I know what I'm
the only
talking
call.
about.
Yeah. No, so, well, that's cool. Are you good? Do you want to move on from turkey hunting? You ready?
Yeah, I think.
Or do you have any other ideas?
The only thing with turkey hunting,
Yeah.
I wish, and it's kind of going back to last year, I really regretted not buying a turkey tag for the fall season. Because I was sitting in this one area in this field, and all of a sudden, as I'm glassing, I caught this movement, and 20, 25 yards, there's this full flock of turkeys that came walking into this field, and I didn't have a darn tag. I was really mad at myself because I could have had a clear shot, and I couldn't.
Yep.
Major regret.
Yep. Well,
So-
at least you didn't miss.
So, lesson learned: buy a turkey tag for the fall hunting.
Nice.
Because in case I'm not
Yeah.
out hunting deer, at least I can get turkey.
It's nice to have it with you just a little bit.
Oh, I know.
Maybe just the overall down just a little bit on my headset. That's all. It's just a little loud.
Am I
Thanks.
yelling at you?
You just a little bit. It's okay
I
though.
am so sorry.
No,
I
you're
get
good.
excited.
Yeah, I don't blame you though. This is exciting stuff. So, so we'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. And I mean, even probably me learning how to use a call, what one's easiest, from the mouth call to a box call, and what's the one called? The peg and what is it called?
That's
Or something in peg?
the slate call.
Slate call. Yeah.
Yep.
So slate call. I'm gonna try. I want to get my hands on one of those three, and then from being a total newbie, I want to be able to fill people in on, hey, this one seems to be really user friendly. Here's the downfalls. Here's the pluses, minuses. We'll try to come back, circle back around, and touch base on some of those things.
It only took me like 3 years to learn how to use a mouth call.
Oh, I'm super optimistic. Great, awesome. So, dude, you've only alluded to this like 3 times that you have some thoughts on shed hunting, even though I'm excited to shed hunt.
So tell me your thoughts, and then I'll share mine.
Well, here's the thing. I listen to a few different podcasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one called Wired to Hunt with Mark, and only recently have I heard him start talking about, oh, hey, this is I've listened to him for maybe a year at this point, where he's like, oh, don't go out too early. You'll be pushing the animals, burning a lot of extra calories, and it can actually end up hurting them. I've heard other people talk about, don't go shed hunting in the same area multiple times, quote unquote, educating deer about your movement, and they'll just leave. So I've heard some different theories, different thoughts on it. Me personally, I have so many areas I just want to check out that really it's a scouting trip that I'm going to keep my eyes heavily peeled for some sheds. It's not like I'm watching a buck and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get that buck's sheds, and I'm going to grid search this thing until the sun sets. So for me, the shed hunting is kind of a byproduct of doing some scouting, because there's so many areas I'm excited to look at.
Okay.
And what's nice is right now with the snow on the ground, I'm hoping to kind of backtrack some heavy trails and see where the bedding is, and just kind of get really some intel on it. And perhaps a byproduct would be finding a shed. So I'm going to call it shed hunting opposed to scouting.
All right. So you're really scouting, but you're hoping to find a shed.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
When I
All
find
right.
a shed, I'm shed hunting. And when I don't find a shed, I was out scouting.
If a tree falls in the middle of the woods and nobody hears it. If Ethan finds a
Well,
shed in the
listen,
middle of the
well,
woods
listen,
and
when I
nobody
post
sees it,
something- when I post something, now
you're going to post it as, I was out shed hunting.
Either way, it's a success, right? If I go out, I'm a master shed hunter because every time I post, I'm finding a shed, or I'm that guy putting in the time and scouting because I didn't find a shed.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
I see what you're
You
doing.
can't lose.
Nicely played, sir.
Yeah.
Nicely
Well,
played.
now that everybody knows, this will be great. Note, I was telling you even before we started this, it's like when I look at our analytics and the millions of people listening. But really when I see people like when every minute that I look at where it's like, oh, someone chose to listen to this. And I don't mean that degrading to us. I mean, like, that means so much to me because I know how valuable my time is. I know how like choosy I am about what I listen to. Yeah. So every minute I see on there or every hour even, it's like, oh, that is like, it means so much to me that people took their time and listened to it. So sappy moment. Thank you guys for listening. It is so awesome that you tune in and want to listen to a couple of goofballs,
talk about their lessons,
talk about their lessons. And
which for those who do continue to listen, we might have a giveaway at the end. So keep on listening. It might actually be worth your time.
Yeah. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. And we're on iTunes, Podbean, all that jazz. But you're already listening, so you knew that.
Yep. So shed hunting. So here's my thoughts.
Yes. Philosophize. Is that a word?
Philosophize. Yes. I'm going to philosophize you on my position in shed hunting. Here's my 30-second TED Talk. No, in all reality, I don't. It might be just because sometimes I just see movements and things pop up where it becomes cool to do. So therefore, I'm kind of like, I just don't want to do it. And in all reality, I will say that's probably actually more of a Western issue where shed hunting has become so big out in the Western states and reading and seeing how state parks are having to put in these shed season limits. And there's talks about having like shed hunting permits you have to start drawing. Like they're just because people are going out there, not just in numbers, but they're going out there in ATVs or they're disrupting the animals and in their habitat in seasons where they're supposed to be resting and recovering, that now they're getting disrupted even more by people trying to go shed hunting. I think there's actually probably a big difference between us here in the Midwest and those out west. So it's probably a little more fitting for there. But to me, I'm just kind of, I've never actually really found a whole lot of interest in shed hunting particularly. Like if I'm out in the woods and I were to find one, that'd be sweet. I totally would grab it. But I don't know. It's just not something that gets me excited.
Well, here's the thing.
Cool. Like, I don't know. Like, dude, it just doesn't get me excited. That's me.
Yeah.
But
well, here's the thing.
I'm kind of a Debbie Downer that way.
Well, here's the thing that I thought was surprisingly cool is that I found a deadhead this year, which you probably saw.
Oh, nice.
And it was old. But what was really cool is
you set that text up real nice. I got a deer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what do I get? A picture of an old deadhead.
Well, it was a nice buck, dude. It was a very unique, nice buck.
It's a nice buck.
No, but really,
Total letdown.
Story of my life, man. Jeez. No, but it was like, oh, I went out, I didn't get a deer, but to come back, you come back with lessons, but when I came back and I'm walking through an area that I'm like, oh, I've never been through here, I'll just walk here on my way back, it's dark, and I got my flashlight going, and you just see this thing on the ground, and you're like, oh, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, instantly, I'm like, what's the story? What happened here? Like, looking around, like, I wonder if coyotes got him. I knew there's coyotes around here. It was pretty old, so who knows at this point if it was like actually just dragged there later. I don't know. But to me, it was like this unique story to me where you're like, you're not going to go out and buy someone else's mount, right?
Yeah.
Like that's someone else's story.
Yeah.
But when you find a deadhead, that's still your story, even though it's already dead. And so it may not be as meaningful as like a harvest or a kill, but to me, it's like
still
that.
Pretty cool.
It's still my story.
It's a cool find.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, I'm going somewhere where likely no one has stepped foot in quite a while. If I'm finding this and it's not disturbed, or maybe someone doesn't care about it. I don't know. But to me, it still had some value.
Okay.
And it was the first thing. I haven't found a shed up to this point. I haven't found a deadhead until that moment. And so this is all fresh, new thoughts on it. It's not like I've been shed hunting for years and it's like, oh yeah, this. I would say about your western portion, and you are probably up to speed with this part of it that I think is an important aspect, is that people sell those sheds for a pretty good chunk of money.
That's true.
Yeah, and there's different grades. I watched on Hushin at one point where he was selling his sheds. I had to click on it because I was like, he's got a mountain of sheds.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he
made a Christmas tree, a freaking Christmas tree out of elk antlers.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And I'm watching him sell a couple 100 pounds of sheds and getting over, 1,000 or two. I forget exactly how much. It was over 1,000. And I'm just like, okay. Now you're just like, if you're running a channel and you need to kind of make some money,
it's like, well, if you're not doing a full-time job outside of hunting and running a YouTube channel, it's like, well, then that is your job. Go find sheds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then obviously there's probably a plethora of people who do have full-time jobs and shed hunt for the money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's got to be some of both because it's a lot of work for something you might not get a ton of return on.
Yeah, I'm definitely not familiar enough with how all that works and why people do it. I don't know. It just seems to me, and again, West versus Midwest, totally different. Because the people I know that shed hunt here in the Midwest, it's about going out and just walking the woods. Like, I don't know anybody that goes out and rips through the woods in their ATV here to find some deer antlers.
But do you think that there's I guess I'm not super familiar, but I'm pretty sure the weather out there is not as severe as the weather is here.
That is true.
And so
they don't get as much snow.
I would imagine that the impact here might be a bigger deal than the impact there, because when we're going out and it's, half the winter is below zero and if you got deep snow, it's not like there's a ton of food sources everywhere for every animal. And so when you are disturbing it, it might have a bigger impact. It could. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm not like, so for me, if they're seeing, if the DNR is seeing, or people are recognizing like, hey, there's like absolutely like huge crowds of people going out shed hunting at really bad times, maybe we should just put some kind of parameter on it. I'm not advocating for that because I think like hopefully common sense wins. Who knows? But a lot of the people who are really steeped in deer hunting and really get it just would even say, like I said, like the guy from Wired to Hunt, Mark, it's just like, well, just wait. I mean, it's not like your sheds aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
More than likely, right? I mean, just wait. Give them a fighting chance. And so just err on the side of caution, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. It's a weird gripe I have.
It is.
Like I said, it's more West related.
That's okay.
So maybe it's just me kicking back against what's becoming cool.
The flow of culture.
Yeah. No hashtag shed hunting from this guy.
Hashtag shed rally. Let's go.
Oh man.
Dude, I think the big thing for me, like I mentioned or alluded to, was I want to get out and scout.
Yeah.
On X, I have like an unreal amount of pins where it's like, I'm going to go walk over here where I think bucks would go. And if I find a shed, all of a sudden I'm shed hunting. And if I don't find a shed while I'm scouting, that's why I came out anyway. But in reality, I'm out there to scout and figure out what's going on, learn something. I may not even hunt the area, but the accumulation of information is legit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really excited to get. And then,
I can buy that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So now I know when you are posting shed hunting, you really mean scouting. Hashtag scouting. Now we all know.
Yeah, the secret's out, guys. If you want to be successful all the time, just make sure you differentiate what you're doing based on your success.
If it always looks like I'm accomplishing my goal, I never look like a failure.
Yeah. So when I go out turkey hunting and I happen to see a coyote, I'm coyote hunting. I'm successful.
And if he finds a shed, he's out shed hunting. He wasn't turkey hunting.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I just brought my bow for fun.
And if nothing happens, hashtag scouting.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys want to know how to be a winner all the time, that's how you do it. So did I mention I put in for a preference tag on the bear?
Ooh,
did I mention that? I feel like I might have mentioned that, but maybe not.
Know.
I put in a preference tag. So From what I hear, I got a couple buddies who bear hunt, and from what I hear, it's like you max out at 4 years, I think, on the preference points.
Okay.
Where it's pretty much guaranteed you'll get one.
Nice.
I've also known people who put in the first year and get it. But this year with turkey and bear tag, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put in for turkey, and I'm probably not going to be able to pull off like all the things that go with bear hunting when I'm learning two totally new things. So I was like, all right, I'll put a preference point in. So I guarantee, I have that, and then within the next few years, I hope to do some bear hunting.
I should probably do that. I didn't even think about putting it in just for a preference tag because I want to bear hunt it at some point.
Yeah,
but I just don't have the time to do that yet. So I didn't really think about just putting it in for a preference points.
But you have turkey hunting time, huh?
I do have turkey hunting time.
I would trade one for the other after some success with one, maybe.
Yep.
I don't know. So anyway, I'm just kind of thinking like longer term, not super long term, but longer term.
Have you ever bear hunted?
I have not.
Okay, and would you go archery? If you did? Okay,
archery, yeah.
Good.
Would I carry another boomstick with me? Yes.
Totally.
And this is what's going to be great is that there's probably a bunch of people who are black bear hunters already. and they're like, dude, they're like so skittish. I ran into one. Did I tell you that?
No.
I ran into a bear. It was September. I'm out there scouting. I'm at the riverbed trying to go to my camera, and I'm crawling through these pines, and I kind of catch some movement, like just up and to my right a little bit under the pines, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like I spooked a deer. Like I was like, oh, there's something down here, right? Because I've only been there once before that, and I look a little closer, and it's like only 10, 15 yards away.
Oh, geez.
Black bear.
Oh, nice.
Black bear. Looking at a black bear. I'm like, okie dokie. Like, and up to this point, I've never, and I've been outdoors quite a bit, not seen a black bear in person out in the woods. Just not been in the area.
Yep.
And now I'm looking at one very close, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are used to black bears, and they're like, oh, they're harmless, more or less, right?
Sure.
And,
Yeah. So I grabbed my way overpowered 3.3 inch XDS 9mm pistol, and so I pull that out, and I just go, "Hey bear!" and just scream as loud as I can.
And the bear takes off. The thing that, like, I was shook because the thing ran away, and after it got like 20 yards further away, I couldn't even hear it.
Jeez.
Like its feet were so soft. I was like, "What? I don't know where it is."
Did you leave?
Dude, no, I was only like 20 yards away. I stood there. I stood there for maybe a minute. Like, do I go get my camera? Do I go the extra 20 yards or whatever it was to the camera? I'm like so nervous now because I just don't have much interaction with him in person. And I'm like, no, he's got to be gone. I'm here. I need to go get that camera. So I go get the camera, and I'm like, my head was on a swivel the rest of the time. My pistol's out the entire time, cocked, locked, and ready to rock. And I'm just like, this pistol may not put him down, but it should scare him before it gets close to me. And so I just, I got out of there, and I did a little Instagram video. I'm like sweating and panting. I'm like, I just had my first encounter with a black bear.
So it was sweet. It was really exciting. And so, anyway, and then I ended up catching another big black bear. Don't worry, I had someone who knows something about black bears look at the photo, and they're like, yeah, that's a big bear.
Nice.
So after I saw that, I was like, maybe I should bear hunt.
There you go.
So
Sweet.
Yeah, dude. It's such a diverse habitat in this little area.
So maybe 2020, 2021.
Yeah, perhaps that will be
We'll have to
those
see.
the year, might be the years. We'll see how turkey hunting goes this year.
Nice.
Because if I'm crazy about that,
I do feel like at least Midwest, from what I understand,
yeah,
Midwest bear hunting takes a little bit more work because of the whole baiting part. Do they bait? Oh, they have to allow baiting in Wisconsin.
sure do.
Wisconsin's all about baiting.
Yeah, because we don't have. You ready for a hot topic? They don't have CWD up this far north yet.
Neither do we in Minnesota. It's just further down south.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Big topic.
Sir. Yeah.
Topic that neither one of us really know a whole lot about. So
yeah, I've listened to a
we
lot.
won't act like we know anything.
I've heard the. Dude, I know some. Side note, tangent. I know some people who actually have a deer farm. Some good friends of mine.
Okay.
and I'm hoping to have them at some point on our podcast as
All right.
guests.
Ooh.
And they just started within the last like 5 years or less, I think. And so they have probably some strong opinions on CWD because a lot of people put the blame, or at least a big contributor is deer farms because obviously they're swapping spit.
Yep. Is it deer farms?
So they, maybe I'm misterming that. I don't know. You know, I don't know what's politically correct for deer farms. And so we hopefully will have them on here and we'll brush up on our information before
that would be really good.
But I'm familiar with kind of both sides in the layman's terms anyway. Familiar with both sides on where things are at. So
anyhow, off that rabbit trail.
Yeah, my goodness.
Deer trail.
Yeah, what were we on?
Call it.
Were we on bears?
So bear hunting, yeah. So you're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I think
the baiting.
Gonna,
That's what we were talking about. Baiting. Yeah. They do bait, from what I understood and was reading, and I kind of quit digging deep into it because I was like, okay, I got a couple years at least before I get into this. But I'm pretty sure you put it out there. You can't have like it in a metal can. Like you can't bring garbage out there essentially.
Okay.
But you want to like have something obstructing the bear, so he's hanging around like digging it up or taking like a lot of people use logs and stumps, that kind of thing to bear feed.
Okay.
And so that's kind of my game plan at this point. But I have a few friends that do bear hunt and they've been successful, and so I'm actually going to have them probably give me a lot of input.
Nice.
And then that will be with an archery with a bow, hopefully. And then I've never had bear meat, so that'll be another thing.
I had bear meat once.
I
when I was like
I love preparing meat.
14, 15. And I remember it was good, what I remember of it. So,
Dude,
I'll be excited to try bear meat again.
here's the thing. As far as like game, especially wild game, because I think it gets a bad rap, and it's starting to get culturally cool. So maybe you won't dig this anymore. But eating wild, so to speak,
Is starting to get cool. And so
No, I joined the movement before it became super cool. So it's
okay.
totally okay.
yeah. Oh, now that
The
Dustin's,
hipster, anti-hipster
Dustin,
meat.
yeah, Dustin's validated it, so it's all
The
good.
flat brim
my
wearing
gosh. Here we
hunter.
go.
Oh, boy.
So,
and so I think it gets a bad rap, and the reason is like I grew up, and you think of it like this. When we look at like how our grandparents might have hunted, or people at least from that generation, it was like red flannels and nobody cared. Like you can just go out there, smoke on the stand, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just go out there and you hunt.
dude, it totally smoked during turkey season. I had a cigar one day.
That's crazy.
I was so bored. Anyhow.
Yeah. Speaking of running and gunning, no. And think of it this way. So there was just like, didn't really care, just kind of did it, and that's what it was. Whatever you had, you had. That's, I think, the same mentality that was and has been applied to the actual preparation of the meat and the care of the meat going into from the field to the table.
Yep.
And so it seems like as we've upgraded our technology, and I think just people kind of gain a more respect for hunting in general,
Yep.
and an understanding of the weight of what you're doing, and it's not like this gung ho, we're just trophy hunting only and donate the meat just cause I don't feel like dealing with it. It seems like people are taking a lot more pride in actually the preparation. And I mean, I was basically, here's the deal. Deer meat, we had a ton of deer meat in my family, but we were eating hockey pucks is what we really were eating. And so it was like,
yummy.
like I didn't know what medium rare was until I met my wife. So, and I was like, what is this deliciousness? And I was like, I'm not eating that blood. It's not blood, everybody. Look it up. I'm serious. It's a thing. And so that's what I thought it was. Like it's just this red juice. And so my dad, he'd fry it up. God bless his soul. He would fry up this deer meat, and it'd just be like almost blackened. And it was it was like eating jerky, and it was so dry and so tough. And then we were real classy and used just ketchup. So, I mean, that was it.
Yummy.
Yeah. I mean, I still like hunting. I still like wild game, but I've had a few experiences where that meat has been prepared in that way for me. And I'm like, nah, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
But then again, I wouldn't eat a steak, a regular, beef
regular
steak
that
like
way.
this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I've been able to prepare it for other people who generally don't like game.
Yep.
And they actually enjoy it.
And that's one thing that I've seen too, even especially this last year, watching a lot of video from various folks on processing meat and preparing it. And you can I definitely noticed a big shift in kind of this older school group of processing versus this new school group, where we're starting to see a lot more refined processing and even refined thought on what is good. Like I talked to a lot of older generational people, and all of them have said that the ribs aren't worth anything. And then I've
tomahawk
watched
steaks.
tomahawk steaks. I
wanna
totally
try that
want to
so
try.
bad.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
It's gonna be so good.
So, just seeing there's so much more cultivation of this resource. So yeah. Anyhow, I'm excited for that too. We can get to that. So
I think anyway.
So we went from turkey,
meat.
turkey to
turkey
bear,
to bear.
and now back to deer because most of our season revolves around deer.
Well, I think hold on now. Let's so we're kind of rolling. We talked a little bit about the shed hunting.
Yep, shed hunting.
I just want to make sure I didn't forget the bear tag because that's totally new to me. And then also moving into summer. Now this is where I'm going to lean on you, sir.
Yeah.
Because this will be my first year with a bow where I've had it. Besides, like
more than just August, and
Dude,
I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Like, thank you for the free stuff. Like, thanks for the free arrows. Thanks for the free bow. I'll go sight this in as best
How do I
can.
shoot this?
That's what it was. I mean, in contrast to your 39 releases, correct, sir?
I have an issue.
Okay.
We've established
that's
that.
That's the first step to every problem.
How many have you had?
I had the free one that came with the bow, and then I bought one more that was essentially the same thing.
So
And so, hey, it released an arrow and it got a deer.
It's true.
So
It's true.
there's that.
Some of us have just
But it's
deeper rooted issues.
No, I think there's some real value in fine tuning that stuff. So I'm just glad that you bought the 39, so I only have to buy maybe 3.
Yes.
That's what my hopes
Yes.
are. That's where my hopes and dreams lie. Is all your R&D and then I'll just talk tactics with
So
you.
but that's one thing I think I'm excited about this summer is to get out and start shooting a lot again.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely looking forward to the warm weather. Man, this winter has been killing me because I can't really shoot in my yard anymore due to events that will not be talked about on this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
I won't speak of putting an arrow into my neighbor's truck and realizing I should probably not shoot in my yard ever
Yeah,
more.
that truck was parked in the garage, right?
Yeah, shooting through the garage wall into the truck. You know your system's set up great when it can penetrate that well, but that makes you realize you need to just go shoot elsewhere. So anyhow, digressing from that story, I'm really looking forward to the summer and warm weather again.
Yeah.
Being able to get out and practice not just myself, but with you and my wife, and start really just sharing some time on the range together and dialing in the equipment. That's the one downside I will say about getting a new boat every year is having to get out and relearn it and redial it in, and a new arrow setup, and obviously my releases I'm still trying to figure out.
Is that really a downside for you? That's like what you love the most.
Okay, I do have fun with it.
Okay.
I really do have fun with it.
It's not a downside for me. I honestly feel like that's a downside. It's like, I recently just maxed out my bow on poundage.
We still need to get your bow set up.
Still haven't shot an arrow. It's been like 3 months since I maxed it out. I'm like, I'm going to do this Allen wrench thing and get this thing maxed out. Still haven't touched it. I got a drop away arrow rest, limb driven. Haven't touched it yet. Got to get that turned on while applied, and then do all the tuning.
Yes.
And so to me, like that is actually frustrating because I want to go out and just practice and get efficient.
And that's one thing that sucks about having to live in Minnesota and the winter and the cold and the snow, is it seems to kind of limit that. There's a reason that a lot of professional archers come from the southern states because, shockingly, they can actually practice year round, longer than 20-yard ranges.
But there's some pretty dang nice bow shops.
We do have a nice bow shop. We have one here in town in Superior.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Well,
we haven't gotten involved with it all yet.
We know.
I think in the next couple of years we're going to be pretty involved there.
Probably.
I have some friends who shoot competition there, just 3D stuff.
I would love to.
Such a blast.
I would love to be able to get together and go do some 3D stuff. So I'm excited for the summer to be able to get out, really start working together, getting your setup refined, my setup refined, helping you learn and walk through the lessons that I learned, and share you the pain that I've experienced over the last few years.
You can save me all the money. I mean, pain.
Yeah. Actually, so crazy thing, getting back to that releases.
Oh, God. Here we go.
So when I sat down and I figured out, like, if I were to buy every one of these releases brand new, I would have spent anywhere plus or minus $3,500 that I've probably only spent a couple hundred on through trading, selling, reselling, and whatnot. So
I'm gonna go ahead and crunch the numbers here. On an average 89.74.
So yeah, maybe closer to $4,000 if I were to buy these all brand new.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean,
plus.
but even for me, like my little wrist release, because again, it's like, does it function? Okay, I'll take it. Thank you. $90 for a release is like a lot of money. So I want the right one.
I used to think that. I used to think $50 was a lot of money for a release. Now I'm like $200.
You're like, seems
not a problem.
You're like, seems reasonable.
If I can get one for $150, I'm like, it doesn't sound so bad. But thankfully, I've been able to resell everything. I'm excited though. This year, I've made it. I've wanted to get out every year and go do some 3D shoots. This year, I am getting out. You and we are going to Bow Fest.
Bowfest. Okay. So I haven't looked into or read anything besides this is on Montelak, right?
Yes, at Montelak Ski Hill. So I found out last year that they actually have a full archery course set up that you can go to year round if you get a membership, or you can pay for a day pass. Tons of targets, but the last, I think 3, maybe 4 years, they've held a pretty big, like a 3D archery shoot event over the weekend where they have brought in, last year they brought in a bunch of big names in the hunting industry.
Really?
I know they had Levi Morgan, which I was
I
planning
follow
on-
him.
I was
He's
planning
cool.
I was planning on going.
He seems nice.
Yeah, he knows a thing or two about archery, I think.
I'd let him talk to me.
Yeah. And only learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
I think they had a couple other big names that I kind of could care less about the other names, but Levi Morgan, like, there's a guy who knows how to shoot. And then they have tons of targets set up, and I was really wanting to go last year, couldn't find anybody to go with, so it kind of like fizzled out.
Wah,
This year,
wah, wah.
you and I know a couple other guys, we are definitely going, making a priority to at least make it out to 1 or 2 3D shoots.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
The C word. Community.
Community.
Yeah, community.
Yeah.
No,
Honestly,
again,
that's huge though.
You didn't go.
I didn't go because I didn't have anybody to go with, and I was kind of lame. I'm like, I'm not going to go by myself.
Yeah, Dustin didn't have any friends.
Yeah. So I did it. I need friends. So if anybody wants to be my friend.
it's okay. I didn't go for 27 years
Yeah.
either.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Getting out with a group of guys. Even my wife. Hopefully she's able to go as well and just get out and go shoot. And just kind of have some fun with
Dude,
that.
I'm a little intimidated. I'm gonna be honest, and also I don't want to break or lose arrows, and that's probably gonna happen. Okay,
That's the thing that scares me is losing
so
these expensive darts.
and so what I do know, and I have seen is that there are different routes. Maybe I'm not sure what they would call them, but basically different courses where they have like a max
ski hills,
yardage.
like the Green Hill, the
Yeah.
Black Hill, the Bunny Hill.
So, but what I've understood is that they do have like a max yardage, like different courses with max yardages. You shoot like 100 yards plus for funsies. I shoot 50 to 60 yards
This year
because
or
I
last
should,
year.
not because I want
this
to
year
yet.
you will.
I probably will. I gotta get a different site though. It'll be interesting. Interesting little journey.
Yes.
So I guess that's what I'm wondering. Are we going to be going where I can guarantee you that I will lose some arrows?
Probably.
Oh man,
Probably.
Dude.
So I'll probably lose arrows too. So, but it'll be fun. I think I'm looking forward to getting out, trying, that experience,
Yeah.
having kind of that like semi-similar pressure as to an actual hunting situation where we're like, oh man, I got to make this shot. Otherwise,
No one's going to think I'm cool anymore.
Exactly.
No, but really, I think.
I got to keep up that social media image. Like,
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Here we go. No, I think there's going to be a ton of value whether we're at the pro shop or at that bow fest.
yeah,
I think it's going to be really cool to get out, like you just said, and get some experience where there's a little bit of pressure, at least a little bit of pressure, where it's like you want to perform, you're under pressure, and you want to be able to take the opportunity where it's like, I need to focus on the process, not the end result.
and that's exactly it. I think being able to get together with other people and help each other work through that mental mindset of like, okay, focus on the process. Because I remember last year, especially getting out long range shooting, and the days I was able to really focus in and hone in on like, okay, focus in on the process, trust the process, and really focus on what I was doing rather than like focus in on the result. Oh man, there's one session I went out. It was an 80-yard session, and I had a one like 3 set of arrows that when I shot them, like all 3 of those arrows were shot with, I could say, perfect execution, and my grouping was dynamically tight. Like it was awesome, and like I could feel it. Like I knew that those arrows, every single one of those 3 arrows when I shot them, were shot with just perfect execution, and I wasn't worried about where are they hitting. It was just I was so focused on what I was doing rather than focused on what I was trying to get. And the grouping at 80 yards, I mean, it was within 2-3 inches of each other, which was amazing, and each shot felt so good. And to be able to work towards just always shooting it with such focusing on the process rather than the outcome.
Well, dude,
I need that.
Hey, you know what? I've started to learn about myself, and I try not to only learn about myself in the hunting arena.
But the things I'm learning outside of this are applying to the hunting realm. And I found that I'm a huge auditory processor. And so
I can yell at you?
no, that's not what
Shucks.
that means. It means I don't think well inside my own head, and I do much better having conversations with people. And so when I'm able to get that instant feedback, I mean, even when we
Same
were
here.
even
Same
when
here.
even when we were at your house tuning my bow, when I picked up the one from Identical Draw.
Yep.
Those guys are awesome. Shameless plug. If you get one, I get one, right? Check out Identical Draw. They're awesome. They put out sweet content. Instagram. And anyways, I got their bow and you were helping me set it up. And it was the first time I was really shooting with someone besides like when I initially put my hands on a bow. So it's just way too much to take in. So I think Seth kind of recognized that. He was like, just get him to pull back and release some arrows and just get comfortable with that. The idea, not the process necessarily, but the idea of shooting it and just like let him have fun with it. And so I think that was good. He did a good job of making it not too overwhelming. Like, oh, I suck at this. I'm not going to be good enough. He was really reassuring early on.
Way to go, Seth.
Yeah, Seth, you're the best. But really, when I was up with you, it was like every shot we were talking about. It was like, oh, try this. Oh, a little more relaxed here. Oh, make sure that you're not pulling or you're not like trying to see where the arrow hit really quickly, right? Like dropping that front arm. So for me, if we're able to do a lot more practice together and not alone, that auditory processing where we're critiquing, we're asking questions, and that I think is going to be a huge benefit for me moving forward and like even at competitions. Because to me, like when I was under pressure, that's when I forget. I mean, that's why practice is so important.
We'll get you out to 100.
Right. When you're
200 maybe. Yeah,
oh
we'll
my
see.
Goodness. When you're under that pressure and then someone asks you, oh, did you do this or did you do that? Did you remember, did you feel like you dropped your front arm? Did you feel like you didn't pull through? Like all those different things. A lot of times I forget because it's like the pressure's there.
Yeah.
And so having that constant reminder or someone there to bounce that off of, or like even honestly, even after you let an arrow go and be like, nah, that didn't feel right. Or, I think that's a bit left. I pulled that one, whatever it is. It's kind of cool to bounce it off somebody else and have that community around you to be able to kind of learn and that the instant feedback is huge.
And
huge.
That's one thing I didn't really have the first few years or really ever was having that community of people to really help me, just because I mean part of it was my own doing. I could have really sought that out more, but also just being constrained by time. I had to do a lot of practice in my own yard and had to really learn a lot of lessons on my own, which took a little longer, but in the end I think really kind of a lot of what I realized, like, okay, I can help people learn at least what I've gone through. So
yeah, and that's pretty sweet.
So
I think the other thing that I'm really excited for is early scouting. Early
scouting. We mean
here we go.
Shed hunting.
Callback. Making callbacks. Comedy Central presents. But really, I think for me, scouting, kind of getting my cameras out there, starting to check cameras early season and then putting them hopefully in their final destination for the season. Hopefully.
You got some areas you're excited about?
Yeah.
I do. I got a couple areas
that's
I'm
good.
Really excited about.
Well, I feel like for the most part, I've kind of, pending me going back and checking it, I've kind of eliminated where I got my 8-pointer from. So for me, going into this next year, I probably have the same parameters with maybe one more caveat. So it's got to be a deer I'm excited enough to end my season, right? And then also I do, generally speaking, want it to be an 8-pointer or bigger. But if it's an 8-pointer, I'm hoping that it's maybe wider, maybe a little taller. But I'm really open to, like, if it's something where I called it or rattled it in, like something where I was really interactive, or like if I'm on like I want to do a spot and stock, which in the Midwest is really tough because you just can't see that far.
No.
And so it's hard to make a game plan. But there's certain things that I think will change the dynamic of what I will take and what I won't take, because there's certain like skills I want to get. And if I'm going, I'm only going to do that on a 10-pointer, like I'm not going to wait for a 10-pointer to spot and stock.
Yeah.
I'll take a small, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even going to say what a number is because the rack isn't like everything, but the maturity of the deer is a big aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so depending on what goes into it, for me, will kind of determine what I'm after. So as far as what the cameras are showing me and where I've been so far, there is one area where it was like it seemed like a really nice 8 or 9 pointer.
Okay.
Like real nice. The rack was outside the ears and it looked pretty good. So it was definitely bigger than the one I got this year. And then, so obviously next year will be bigger yet. And so that's the one area that I'm kind of excited about. I just had one camera on it, and depending on what my other cameras show, I might end up moving all those cameras there and trying to start to locate and figure out what's around that area. So that to me is going to be kind of my my early scouting, aka figuring out where my quote unquote target buck. But really, I'm going to be kind of open to it still because there's just so many areas I want to check out.
Yeah.
And the idea of spot and stock is huge. Like I love that kind of hunting.
Dude, I would love
I got
to do
really
that.
close to getting a doe last year.
You did. That
On
was
a spot and
pretty sweet
stock.
story.
Oh man, it was.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited for one area that I found this last year that I found kind of almost a little too late in the season to where we bumped into really late season hunting and realized that area quickly became not an area that was good for late season as they all kind of disappeared and then they need to kind of figure out where they go to late season. But early season, just due to the topography of the land, saw a lot of bucks. Had one really nice buck.
That thing was beautiful.
He was beautiful. I mean, his brow tines were huge, and he wasn't even outside the ears yet. Like, I'm really excited.
Super symmetrical.
Yeah, like just, and I think it was exciting learning last year how to scout an area, e-scouting, and then go on foot and have everything confirmed.
Really? Everything was confirmed. No surprises, sir.
Okay, I was totally surprised by that buck.
Okay, all right.
But it was cool to see that actually find deer movement.
Yeah,
you know,
I was
like
a hard time.
I know. To actually find deer movement and then to be surprised with this actually is an area that, because I'd been to a few other areas that I hadn't had any success.
Yeah.
And then to find this one area where there seems to be a lot of good deer activity, especially early season. I'm really looking forward to this area. It's got a lot of great topography, so I'm excited to get the cameras out, especially the spring, summer, and see what's moving, and be able to get out with my kids, because I think that's actually kind of been one of the cool things was be able to come home, pull up the computer, pop the camera in or my phone, and the kids are like, "What's on there?"
So excited.
So really excited about that. Really excited to be able to see what's going on in this area, especially having it so close to my house.
Yep.
I think that's one of the things that you and I both kind of run into is the time constraint that we do have, especially with kids so young.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to our kids getting older.
What ages are your kids?
10, 5, 4, 2, and then 6 months. So, and you've got...
I got a 10-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Yeah. And that's a hard age. I mean, it's just a hard season in life to really be able to go out and do a whole lot with them because they are so limited.
Yep.
Whereas I'm finally kind of getting to that point with my 10-year-old where like she actually would like to get out.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to some years down the road where like I can start pulling the kids with me and they can fully jump in and be part of it and not having to carry them because they're tired after a 2-mile ride.
I have a question. Okay. So with your kids, when I go out, I'm like my mentality before, just I guess maybe an overall mentality is I want them to think that every time they ask or show interest in going out, that's an automatic. And like I remember with my dad, it was like the emphasis was I want you guys to come with and you guys to be able to enjoy it and you guys to be able to come outdoors, right? Like that's what it felt like for me. And so now being a parent, I know how difficult that is, or I'm starting to understand how difficult that is. And obviously summer is going to be, I would say, a lot nicer. But there's a ton you are giving up every time you bring them out.
And I haven't.
What's your hope, I guess, for your kids with this? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Is it? And I know it's kind of rhetorical, I guess, because you'd sound like a terrible parent if you were like, my goal is really to be hunting successfully every year, and my kids, if they want to come, they better suck it up and just go with it. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your thoughts? What do you think about when you want your kids? What do you want your kids to get out of this and these experiences? Or how open are you to bringing them with you?
how much of an effect is that going to have on you in
Yeah.
the season? I mean,
I think I'm still kind of learning, if I'm on it. I mean, just because I've only recently discovered some areas close by to where I can bring them. Before I'd gone on weekend trips to areas where I really couldn't bring them with. So now I'll find some areas local. I think that really will change, especially bringing out the younger ones, be able to, go scouting, set up trail cams, quote unquote shed hunting for some of us.
wow, how many callbacks, bro? How many callbacks are we going to do this episode?
However many I can fit in.
However many it takes.
Yep. So I think I'm still learning. I feel like with my oldest, she's finally to that age where she even talked about, like, we went coyote hunting one time and she was really asking, when can we do that again? So I think this year it will be nice to be able to bring her out more, involve some of the younger kids in going out and exploring the woods.
Yeah.
Will be really a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Especially now that they're finally to that age where they are more mobile.
Yeah.
So
I think for
still
me,
kind of learning.
dude, for me, it was like I was so intense in terms of like, I need to figure out what's going on in such a short amount of time that those expectations were changed very quickly. Because when I went out there, a couple things happened. One thing is that I was really disappointed, if I'm honest. I was disappointed, like, I couldn't go as far and do as much as I wanted. But what really started to surprise me and really started to make me kind of readjust my expectations and my hopes was, like,
My kids really they were looking at tracks and they're like going like nuts over it. Nice. I mean, we went to one spot. We were it was just a total like God thing that all this aligned. And I might have mentioned it in previous episodes, but like we went out there one time, we saw a bobcat right off the bat, just right in the middle of the road.
Nice.
You can't miss it. All my kids saw it, and we're just like, my two boys that I had with me saw
just
it.
Pumped.
They're so amped, right? And then we saw turkeys, we saw ducks, we saw goose. We were walking down the power line, and these deer started coming over this hill. So we just sat down where we were at, and we watched them. And they came at us for like 70 to 80 yards, and then kind of ducked in the woods. And it's like they saw all these different aspects, and we saw turkeys, and like the kids were just like amazed at it, and like to see that wonder and to see that like that thing reignited in them that made me want to get out there in the first place. My expectations went from like being disappointed that my camera's not in the right spot, or I didn't get to check out where I wanted to go, turned into races on the way home with the kids. Like they were running down the field and just all these things that I didn't expect, that all of a sudden became way more fulfilling than what a scouting trip #, shed hunting would have been. Okay.
We're on to you, Ethan.
Let's get real. But it is huge paradigm shift for me, where now it's like, because of what I saw in them is what I felt in me, and the reason that keeps me coming back was like that. I want to make sure, even if it's a huge hindrance, quote unquote, huge hindrance to my season and my goals, I want them to know that they can come out.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to think and believe that it's automatic, that if I ask, Dad will say yes. So I hope that they think they can come out, and I hope I do a good job at just like, as soon as they ask, kind of just shift my expectations and just remember how important it is to them and how big of a deal it is to them.
Nice.
And I think they'll realize it one day, kind of like I did with my dad, as he made it feel like that for us. It was always, we were priority.
Cool.
That's what it felt like. So,
and that's what I'm hoping to, just really instill in my kids, is just enjoy and love of being outdoors and having a love for hunting and a skill set for hunting that I didn't have.
Yes.
So,
well, and right now it's a lot of fun for them.
Yep.
But I mean,
once they get older,
it'll start to move. I mean, we bought them bows for Christmas.
Nice.
And so they love that. I mean, we've only been able to shoot in the winter, so it lasts all of 15 minutes before they're too cold.
Well, that's their time limit anyhow. Is 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what you're doing outside. So yeah, I guess kind of trying to target a buck for whitetail season. The other thing, kind of a side note, I guess, is I did go goose and duck hunting this last year.
Okay.
I would say for the first year officially, I joined like once, maybe a time prior to that, a year prior to that. But But this is my first year actually going duck and goose hunting, and oh my goodness, the elements of that are so much fun.
I've heard it's a lot of fun, and that's exactly why I am holding off for like, I told somebody like the other day, I'm like 3 to 5 years, and then I'll try.
Why?
Because I know if I jump in and do it, I'm going to want to do it. Like, I'm going to want to go out. I'm going to want to buy a duck hunting, goose hunting specific gun and the gear.
Supernova.
Like,
I think there's a Supernova.
yeah,
Is that the
like
one?
the Benelli Supernova. Like,
Yeah.
I just know me. Like, I'm going to want to go into it too much. I have to hold off.
Yeah,
I have to.
You're gonna sell your bow. You're gonna sell
No, I'm not
your
going to sell
bow.
my bow. I'm going to
Yeah,
sell
we'll see.
something. Maybe
We'll
a kidney. But I know I just hear how much fun it is. I'm like, okay, I know who I am and how I operate. I
Yeah.
have to hold off.
Yeah, I'm like, as an overall thing too.
Like as I get into more seasons, like I really want to get good at mouth calls, and like observing them do mouth calls for geese and for ducks, and like they're giving this banter kind of back and forth, like, oh dude, that was super sick, like they turned for yours for sure.
Like it's like I'm like don't even get it yet because I'm so early on. But watching that and like seeing the skill kind of build
Yeah.
up in them, and it's like, oh man, that'd be just fun knowing that I brought them in. It's
Nice.
super interactive.
Yeah.
It's super interactive.
So, and then again, your main concern, kind of like turkey, it seems to be, is movement and camouflage.
Okay.
And other than that, it's like you just chill and hang out. I mean, you're laughing and you see them coming from pretty far off usually.
Yeah.
And then you get ready, man. It's so much fun. I was blown away, and then
I'd like to,
yeah.
but I just know me. I
Honestly,
just have to hold off, man.
Honestly, that's probably a good decision on your part. But again, like for me, I enjoyed it. I have a lot of family, and so there's a lot of guns floating around that I can borrow. And so I just can, again, it like the whole thing where it's like, oh, if I just have a system, I'm okay with that. I'm really interested in like the hunting and like the tactic side of it. And so calls are going to start to be more important. And it's like, well, if I always have a gun, why would I change it?
Yeah.
Almost, like I do want one, but it's going to be probably a little bit before I make that investment. So
Nice. I'm hoping it's kind of a long shot for me, but I'm going to put in for Minnesota elk tag,
Dude,
for like one of the 3 or 4 given out. So I'm not really putting in a whole lot of stock, but I knew when I first started to get into archery, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold off for the first 3 years, develop a skill set.
Yep.
Good enough.
yeah,
To be able to get an elk, but I think this year I'm gonna start putting in for
That's
that.
really-
Start
that's-
to building up those preference points, and
dude, if I would have done that for archery, I wouldn't have been hunting for another 2 years.
yeah,
I mean, for whitetail, I should say. So I actually put in last year was the first. I think it was last year.
did you actually put in for it?
Yeah.
Oh, you-
It's $5.
I thought you were just making fun of it. I
No,
didn't
no.
realize you actually put in for an elk tag.
So we were talking. So we were talking about this before the episode started, and Wisconsin for the first time, I want to say in like 100 years plus, maybe even longer.
Was last year the first year?
I believe it was
That's
last year.
right. You okay?
And so,
I remember that.
And so what happened is they're like, oh, we're having the first ever in X amount of years, the first elk tag draw since we've started this initiative to get elk back in Wisconsin. And I was like, oh my goodness, no way, that's going to be so awesome. And I look, and they have 5 tags. I'm like, oh man, that's not a lot of tags. Oh, and 3 of them are also going to the reservations. And it's like, oh, okay. So I think it was like there was like 3 or 4 going. I forget how many there were total, honestly. It might have been 7 or 8 because some went to the reservations. And then I remember some were being used for like, what is it when they bid on it? I'm like totally drawing a
yeah,
blank.
just like
When they do an auction,
Like an
right?
auction,
Like
yeah,
they do
an
like an
auction.
auction, right?
Yep.
And then some were gonna just be random draw.
Yep.
And so like the random draw was like $5. And I looked up, there's like 1 point something million Wisconsin hunters, right? And I looked up that. I put all like the statistics. I'm like, 3 tags left for this random draw, 1 point something million hunters. And I put up the Dumb and Dumber GIF or meme, whatever it was, that said, so you're saying there's a chance.
And so there was a chance. I did not get that chance.
Shucks.
But it's just so exciting to see elk in Wisconsin, to be honest.
It took me, like, I did not realize until within the last probably 2 years, a year and a half. It was like, elk used to like roam.
They used to roam this
everywhere.
area, yeah,
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And we've only driven them to the west.
brink of- yep.
Dang it!
Yeah. So anyway, it's cool to see that development. But
That's cool.
Anyway, I think that's it for today, man.
Yeah.
Are you pretty good?
That's quite a bit.
Dustin, where can everybody find us?
You can check us out at our IG page, Venator Chronicles Podcast, as well as Facebook. We're on iTunes and Podbean.
Oh, and then also check us out on YouTube. We do have some videos
YouTube.
on there.
Yeah, and we try to release probably, I would say 3 to 5 previews, kind of snippets of the episodes, to see if it's something you're interested in. We've kind of put the topics in there, and so if you want to watch, I try to sometimes put videos on there. Sometimes it might just be a picture. If you guys want to check us out, we're also on YouTube at I think that's just at Venator Podcast. Check that out as well. Otherwise, I think that's it.
That's it. And so for just a quick giveaway, I think we'll I'm flying by the seat of the pants here,
Yeah,
but
go.
I think for the first 5 people to use the hashtag Venator Chronicles Podcast, the first 5 we'll send out some stickers we got up to those that
You'll get
use
a little
the hashtag.
Yeah,
I think swag.
Yeah, I think they'll get a little preview if they check out our Instagram page.
Yeah.
And Facebook. We will have the stickers probably posted on some of our containers here.
So first 5 people to use Venator Chronicles Podcast hashtag, we'll send out some.
We'll
free
ship them out
stickers.
to you, and then there may be some giveaways coming up in the future here as we start to create a few things to say thank you.
Yeah.
So
all
right.
for that, take care.
Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a good
Peace.
one. Bye.